it like.
Oh, it's working now. It's working now. It's working now. Okay, let me fix
Is it
my
working
camera.
now?
Yeah, it's
okay,
working now.
your camera's not there.
Yeah, I know.
All right.
No, this isn't breaking.
Yeah.
Doing it live.
That's fine. We can be live.
My camera isn't working.
you know that thing that you want to avoid
in OBS right now because it can only
by
be active
not
in
having.
Oh, you're right. Give me a sec.
You should. Okay.
What you drinking, Toast?
Adult juice.
Adult juice.
Adult juice.
Oh, big place. Okay.
Got it. Stream's black for me at least.
Hey, shut up. All right. Hey, what's up, boys? Welcome to Dlight Sair, episode 3, featuring Toast BH, Taza Lol, and LeftStickDown, and me. What's up? Taza,
hello, everybody.
Take it away.
Take it away. Yes. Okay. So, as Boomie said, we're here hosting the podcast. We were on a little bit of a break for a few weeks. We found out that scheduling a podcast at a tournament weekend when like one host is casting the entire time and the other one is actually playing in every game on stream is pretty difficult to do. So we ended up doing that, and then we had a spring break, so we took a little bit of a break. But now we're back, and we're excited for what's to come in Brawlhalla. We've got a special episode for y'all today because we've got two very special guests here from Baggel. We've got LeftStickDown and Toast. How are you guys doing?
Doing well. How are you?
Excellent. Toast.
Doing all right. Happy to be
great.
here.
We're going to be talking to them a little bit about what it is that they do at Baggel and what Baggel is doing for Brawlhalla. But before we're going to go into the Brawlhalla news, just talk about what's happened over the past few weeks. Switch over to the news.
Yeah.
For anybody that plays Brawlhalla 24/7, you were probably really depressed on one day because the servers were down for like 18 hours. And that is because they're upgrading the servers. They're going to be doing crossplay pretty soon. I don't think crossplay is like active yet, but the servers are in place for when it happens, which is sick. Because I think you can basically play Brawlhalla on every console and PC. So we'll be able to doing that sometime this year, I hope.
Yeah, they said this
within
season.
this rank season.
Yeah, this season.
Oh, that's soon. Okay.
Yeah, that is soon.
That's fantastic. Because that, speaking of which was the next subject that we had on the list, which was that there's the new rank season that just happened. Just came out with this character rotation. You get glory if you played a lot. You can spend it. I think they got the Gold Forge skins are now the thing, the newest thing at least for to spend glory on, which is pretty sick. And then for tournaments, this weekend we've got Sunnyside Air, which is an EU 2v2 tournament. It's going to be happening on the 6th and the 7th. And afterwards, the Brawlhalla Pro Series for North America is going to be beginning on Tuesday. It's going to be a bi-weekly, twice a week.
Twice a week.
Whatever the word is for that. Every Tuesday and Thursday for 3 weeks. It's going to be really exciting. And the reason why those events are particularly special is because we've got two of the minds behind the production team for it here. LeftStick and Toast. They run Baggel Productions. So let's get right into it. What is Baggel? Toast,
yeah, so Baggel Productions is a production company. We are, well, there's three of us in reality. So V is not here right now. But it's the three of us. We were together in Brawl League. We were doing a lot of the events for Brawl League back last year. So Outplayer Dismay, Brawl League Masters, all those big online tournaments that you saw through Brawl League. The team running them behind us was the three of us and some other people. So at the end of last year, we said, hey, we have this skill set, Liam Neeson style. Why don't we put our heads together and start doing things as an official company? And that's where we approached BMG and said, hey, look, you know us. We work together a lot. We'd like to do this a little bit more professionally for you guys. And Baggel was born.
So it went from a bunch of people passionately doing things for Brawlhalla to saying, hey, this is working well enough to where we can make it into a company. And then the masterminds of the production team, in a sense, got together and formed Baggel. I was curious to know about if you had like designated roles. Like, is it like a thing where everybody wears a bunch of hats, or is it like Toast, you something, like what's the situation with the people that make up Baggel?
So it's a little bit of both. V is definitely more the kind of art head, while Toast does most
Oh,
of that, and then I kind of do all of the accounting and stat gathering and things of that nature.
That's
yeah.
right.
So
Oh,
to
go
kind
ahead.
of repeat what you said there a little bit, Leftic, because you kind of became a robot for a moment. I don't know if you guys heard that too, but
Discord's fun.
V is kind of our art guy and photography guy. So when we go to lands, when we travel anywhere, V is there with his camera. Not only is he taking pictures of the event, of the pro players, of anything that happens, but he's also the one who I'll bring the cameras and I'll get them set up roughly, but V will go in and then he has a very, very good eye. So he'll set them up so that the colors are right and the lighting is good and he'll set all that up. He does quite a bit. He also, anytime you see a score overlay, any kind of the graphic packages that you see on stream, a lot of that raw source material is coming from him. I take it and I'm the production guy. So for the actual live events, the switching between cameras, between game, that's me. All the animations, I do all the animations that you see on stream. So the like fiery explosion stinger thing from final round, I put that
Yeah,
together.
that was exciting.
That was really
Brand
cool.
new.
I can't take full credit for it because I did rip a lot of that animation from the Pro Series video. I just straight up, I was like, I like this, and like I took it. But most animations, the stingers, that's all me. And then Left Stick is kind of like he's the glue guy, where he said he was accounting, stat gathering. Left Stick is the kind of guy where you're like, hey, we need these things done, and he's like, yeah, I'll do it, and then they're done. You follow up with him a week later, and he's like, no, I did those last week.
Well, and I was gonna mention, I loved when LeftStick mentioned that because LeftStick, what you're saying is true. I remember Final Round was the most recent event that we all worked at. Boomie
Yes.
played at, but it was like the most recent LAN that we were at. And something that I noticed that was completely different from any other event that I casted was the availability of statistics for player matchups. And I am going to go ahead and say that was probably you gathering all that.
That was me. That was every bit of 60 to 70 hours of looking through every tournament all the way back to Challenge in 2016 and doing all of it by hand.
Yeah, I want to highlight how crazy that is because it's not like there's an automated system for that. You definitely just handpicked it and then made it into an automated system.
A lot of the automation, like I wrote everything and then Toast and like had it in a Google Sheet, and then Toast went in and put the code behind it so that we could just drop down and pick 2 players.
And so here, I can send this to you, Boomie. So I mean, if you want to show it on screen, you can show it on screen, but give me just 1 second to grab it. Basically, what it is it's designed so you just drop down, pick players' names from a drop-down menu, and then it collects all that data and gives you some head-to-head statistics about it.
Yeah, great.
So, right, I can pick Addy Mestic for player 1 and Cake for player 2, and it will automatically update a chart that shows me their total set history all time, their power rank currently. I don't think we've updated power rank yet since final round. Their top 8 finishes, gold, silver, bronze, and their total earnings. And so using that tool, the data that LeftStick collected, and then kind of the power ranking and anything else we could throw in there, we built it in so that all we had to do is someone just had to select the names, and it would automatically update all of those values, all of those things in my streaming program for the broadcast.
Wow.
So click over to the control tab in the bottom left.
Yeah.
I have not updated the power rank data yet, but you can just it's all right there. Scroll.
And what's awesome about that is, while it's all like in typical Excel cells, whatever, and it doesn't look very pretty, it looks amazing when you're able to put it into the graphics that you have designed that's supposed to hold the data when it gets on stream. And it provides for some people something that, like, because a lot of casters do a lot, including myself, we do like storyboard.
Can we just point out Boomie's reaction to reading this?
Okay, that's something. Sure.
Dude, why is Hyper 2-0 up on LDZ?
That's fascinating. Well, LDZ's had like the what term?
I mean, Sheepy is up 1-0 on Hyper Hero because he DQ'd, but
oh, that's big.
Oh man, why did you have to give this to Boomie? This is all he's gonna do for the rest of the podcast. This is a lot of fun. It's showing how awesome the data is. But I was on a thought process.
That is
I
so
don't remember.
tragic, isn't it?
I know, it definitely is. Oh, now I remember what it was. We'll like do our own story writing or storytelling or like notice the story of a tournament. But there's something exciting about like before a match, you go, wait a second. Cody Travis has never beaten this person all of his career, and he has like 7 losses, and then he wins because he was like the big 1v1 upset
Right.
of the entire day. Like he beat Noel for the first time, he beat LDZ for the first time. There's a bunch. That's true. That's not true. He did not beat LDZ for the first time.
Wow.
Remember that. But anyways, the point is that it can set up for some very cool, like this player's not supposed to win and he's winning. Wow, that's amazing. Simple reactions like that. But it was so beneficial to the entire event. Thank you for sharing that tool with us. But before we went into that tangent, what were we getting into? So to summarize, Baggel is a tournament production company.
Yes.
Yes.
That's a very clear and concise summary.
And that's not so. And I bring that up because it's not like also Baggel does like I guess you could say that like the individuals of the company have things that they like to do, whether it's like what LeftStick formed here with tool for information, or what you like to do with your production for events, or what they likes to do for art. But overall, when you all come together for Baggel, you're doing it with a focus on Brawlhalla events.
Correct.
Yeah.
Okay.
So while we are a company and we are separate from BMG, if I was to give you a list of clients, the only client on that list would be BMG.
Well, Baggel's a little new too, relatively.
We're brand new. I mean, I think we actually were certified as an actual company in January.
Okay, that's this year.
So I mean, we're fresh. But the thing is, we're happy just working with BMG. They're awesome to work with. We love them. They're like great. And honestly, when we look at the year ahead, Brawlhalla Esports Year 4, a lot of which we can't talk about yet.
Mm-hmm.
Look, we're good. Like, I'm good. Like, I'm like, I don't need. Thank you.
Well, because we were talking about Final Round, but there's like you've got the online and the offline events in combined, right? You're essentially the premier production team for Blue Mammoth Games when it comes to at least Brawlhalla events, and there's already like 13, 14 things that are confirmed, and then other things that there's a lot of things that are happening this year, as you said, that can't go into too much detail. But just to say, the next so what I think Spring Championship is coming up after Sunnyside Fair.
Yes,
Correct.
Spring Champs
And
is the
that's
last weekend.
and that's going to be under Baggel.
Yes.
And then the next LAN is
Dallas.
Dallas.
Yeah.
I think it's Dallas. Yeah. There's a big gap. It's interesting. Final Round was like the first LAN of the year. Huge gap between the next LAN, and then it's just gonna be like rapid fire every other week.
June
Yeah.
is Dallas. Then you have a week off. Then you have Sweden, DreamHack Summer, and then you come back. And I think there's probably I don't know what else is after that. And then you have more lands in August, right? And then what's in July?
I put them all on my phone.
Low tier city.
Low tier city.
Low tier city is
CEO.
July, yes. And CEO is the end of
CEO.
June into the beginning of July.
I think Shine's in August, right?
Shine is August.
Yes.
August in Worcester.
When's Rotterdam? Is that like the last one?
It is October.
Atlanta's definitely the last one.
No, I mean before Atlanta.
Yeah,
Oh,
Rotterdam
think
is the
so.
last one.
October?
Yeah.
Yes. I'm trying to access my other keyboard.
So the point of that whole list of events, which you guys can find out more on just going to smash.gg/Brawlhalla. It has all the events that essentially Baggel's going to be doing, is to highlight that, yeah, you as a company, even though you have one client, you're doing everything for this client. So it's not like you have a lack of things to do.
No, and it's really exciting because there's no break. And so, some people worry about burnout, but for us, it's kind of like we look at this and we get to create productions for a video game and a community that we love, right? And so that's a big driving force behind it. And every time we come up on an event, we try and make some sort of improvement. So even if you look back to 2018, right? That's when 2018 Brawl League was still doing, at the beginning of 2018, was still doing kind of the traditional here's 2 caster cameras and a game, and you just switch between them, and there was a score overlay. That was it, right? And you look at other games and what they have, right? They have these player cameras, they have crowd cameras, they have crowd mics. You know, we saw other games with replays, and we're like, that's so cool. Can we do that? How can we make that work? Statistics, anything you see, we want to do it. And you know, some things aren't feasible. You look at teams like what Blizzard has for IEM and for their other big things for games like StarCraft or anything like that. And sure, we don't have like a bajillion $1 million and a team of 40 people who are making incredible things. We're a team of 3 people. But we're going to look at their events, Overwatch League, StarCraft, CSGO, and that's not Blizzard, but you get the idea, Dota, whatever, and see what they are doing well and what we can try and take from those events and integrate into what we do for Brawlhalla. Because there's no reason in 2019 that a game that is on every console is going to have crossplay, like you said, this season, and has $500,000 in esports for 1 year. Like, we should have those things.
Yes.
You know?
And I like how you mentioned that, which is that like there's been a lot of things that have been scaling over the years when it comes to Brawlhalla esports. And something that I guess you and your company noticed there was a hole in, right, was the lack of scaling with production to go along with everything else. And so it sounds like what you're describing to me was the personal mission or group mission to say, hey, we're going to help the viewing experience scale with the experience of the people that attend these events, that compete into these events, and that watch these events.
Yeah, exactly. You know, the more that we can do on our end that makes it more engaging and more approachable for everyone else, the better, right? That's the whole idea is how do you make this really, this content very digestible, very, you know, appealing and appetizing? How do you do that in a way that is, that keeps you sane and keeps everyone sane throughout it, right?
Yeah. I like that you mentioned the creative process that you've been putting to your events and why it's not really causing burnout and how it's noticeable in certain events. So there's only been one LAN that Baggel has essentially produced this year. I know that the Winter Championship is like an in-house production sort of deal. Like you're coming to Atlanta, you're going to BMG's office, you're doing the production as if it's a LAN, but it's an online event. So it's not quite the same as what Final Round was, which is what you guys tackled the first time. And what was amazing was that you're mentioning that creative process about how you're including statistics and you're trying to include fun things like the stingers. And I like to be able to see almost like the development of, all right, now we have these tools. Great, we know how to use these tools. Now how do we use these tools well? Yeah. And it all happens over the course of the event, and it gets better and better as time goes on. I wanted to know what you thought about that and if that was like something that you're actively going, like, yes, this is how I'm thinking and how it's showing.
LeftStick, you want to take this one?
So that is definitely something that we do. You know, the start of Final Round, we had the ideas that we wanted to have player cams. We had the idea of a stinger with the players that V had, you know, green screened and we'd cut out. And it was just, they were very general ideas. And then like as the tournament, I guess, went through and went around and we were like, okay, well, we can change this to make this better. We can show the stats in this way so that it's, because originally the stats were just like tournament stats. And then, you know, we were like, hey, could we get the power rank stats on here? And, you know, we at the time it didn't look like it was going to be possible. And then I found a way to pull it into a spreadsheet. And then Toast was like, oh, okay, now we have this. So then it was just, I mean, there's a story there of I asked Foda, hey, how easily accessible is this data in a spreadsheet so that we can use it to add more to the stats than just tournament history.
Right.
And he was like, I don't know how easy it'll be able to do in 4 or 5 days. And then, like 10 minutes later, I figured out a way to get it. And we
met, does this all the time. He does this all the time. I'm like, hey, so this thing, I don't know if it's doable. And then he's like, oh, I did the thing. And I'll be like, really? And how? And he'd be like, oh, I literally copy pasted it and it worked for me. Like, okay.
I literally went into the HTML code of the Brawlhalla esports website and copied it into a spreadsheet.
And it worked. It formatted perfectly.
Well, that shows how well formatted the Brawlhalla website is, at least. That's
Hey,
nice.
let's go.
Yeah, that's pretty nice.
Oh my goodness.
That's amazing. And so then it just snowballed from there, I'm assuming, because you started with a thing, and then you were like, "Wait, what about all these other things?" And then there's just like, all of this works. Wow.
Yeah, we especially for final round was an experience, right? It was our first time doing a LAN production,
right?
But we went into it and we had ideas and we had prototypes for everything we wanted to do. I have wanted to. You can ask anyone in Brawlhalla, but I've wanted to do data-driven graphics for a year and a half now. Basically, since we switched over from OBS over to vMix, which is the program I use for streaming and then doing the broadcast sort of stuff. And at Winter Champs, we're down there in Georgia, and I'm talking to Foda. I'm talking to other guys. I'm saying, hey, why don't we try this? We can do this. We can do this. We can do this. And we come up with a lot of it. I love throwing the ideas out there and then seeing what's actually doable. And one of those ideas was, what if we had player cutouts and then we put them into like an esports style stinger? So 3, 2, 1 brawl, and it was like their faces and their legend choices, and it said versus big in the middle. And we didn't have the pictures ready at Winter Champs. But, I was able to come home after that event and build a prototype. And going into final round, we knew this was something we wanted to do just for top 8. Because when you're looking at, everyone who signs up, you don't have statistics on a lot of those people, right? And you don't have pictures for a lot of those people.
And you don't want to go all out for an experimental feature that
exactly.
Yeah.
And so, going into top 8, you have control. You know exactly who's gonna be there. You know exactly what you need.
And you hopefully have more than a day, a little bit more than a day. Sometimes,
that's the goal.
And Boomie since you could talk a little bit about the experience there as being a top 8 player, right? And what they had to do, because something that happened was they didn't have the pictures. You had to take the pictures of the players as they were there. And I think you were one of many that were like brought back to a room. If you want to talk about that.
The room was actually really cool. Did you go in there, Taza?
Yeah, I went.
It was like giant.
Did you see the giant box of monitors or giant tower? That was me, dude. I was stacking Legos. Anyways.
Okay, well, so like that was my first time doing like any esports photography for anything, and like so I did the generic what's up. I did that pose. I kind of regret it, but yeah, I mean, there's not really much to say. It's just like the production values, like it feels like it's increasing exponentially.
How does that affect you or do you feel like that affects you as a player when it comes to spectating your potential opponents playing and then also being on the stage waiting for all these things to happen, or for this, like, is it interrupting the flow of events as you've gone through? Because you have competed with Brawlhalla since before we even had what we could call production, and none of that seems to be affecting you negatively or positively or what.
Yeah, so the viewer experience, I used to actually not be able to watch tournaments because I just it felt really bland, and now I actually look forward to watching them. Like, I actually watch EU, and I never watched EU ever before like this. So,
oh man,
I mean that's not flame. Anyways.
I know. I just think it's funny because that's usually what people have been saying about in other games. I know Riot recently with League. That was the same thing I said about them. They recently just upgraded production a ton for the LEC,
yeah.
And now I'm like, wait, I actually like watching Europe now. It has nothing to do with what the players were. It was just because the production was driving me away. So I like that you mentioned that, because with increased production comes increased viewer retention.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's actually a problem that we've been having, and that I mean, I don't know the numbers, but I'm assuming that it's going way up. LeftStick is muted. That is, I think LeftStick muted. Tragic.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Sorry. So I can't give you exact numbers, but I know that last year during BCX, when we had Twitch front page, we maxed out around 1,200 viewers. And then at final round this year, we were around 1,700 without front page.
Oh my god.
That's pretty significant, because front page can inflate things by 1,000 sometimes or more, depending. So the fact that we're maintaining those numbers without any sort of artificial buffer is incredible. That's an enormous growth. Wow.
Yeah, and the idea behind a lot of that is that anytime you take a break, anytime you take a pause, any gap in what's going out to people, you're going to lose viewership.
Mhm.
The minute the casters say we're going to cut to break, viewership will drop. It's just that is the way. That's the way it is. That is how it is. So
You give people time to walk away from their PC, they're not going to come back or
Right.
whatever, right? Yeah.
And I mean, I know I do the exact same thing. It doesn't matter. I'll be watching something and they'll go to commercial break and I'll be like, I'm gonna go do something else now, and I'll switch. So the big challenge is always how do you have an interactive break that allows people to take a break, right? Because when you're sitting in that chair, and final round wasn't that bad. I was actually expecting for it to be way worse. But when you're sitting in that chair for 8 hours, you want those 5 minutes of break so that you can go grab food or use the restroom or whatever. I mean, it does get to you. Casters do the same thing. Taza, I know you've experienced too. Sometimes you go on for 4 hours and you're like,
Depends on how many
restroom?
casters you have at the event. Yeah.
and that it burns.
That's one way to put it. It does. Well, and not even. Sometimes it's the opposite. Sometimes it's like there's not enough water or something, right? So you're like dying of dehydration. I know that over time I've developed the ability to maintain my voice much better than before. I remember 2-3 hours. I was shot for like a week. It's not once you've done enough. Like I know you had that experience in Valencia.
Oh my god.
So that was something.
That was so real, dude.
And I had a similar experience over in winter where it's just like when you have 2 people to do the entire event and you're on stream for the entire event, you just you learn what to do. Sometimes you go literally insane and you start talking about things that make no sense, and it can be more appealing to some people. But yes, I know what you're talking about. When you're at offline events, the experience of being production or casting is rough because you have to be in that location the entire time. And I would even imagine it's twice as rough for production because, as you were saying, me as a caster, I get the benefit of I do get to rotate out most of them. You don't.
Well, that's the thing is like when I go to break, I need something to happen for those 5 minutes that's hands off, that doesn't need me monitoring it, right? Because I can do lots of cool things in those 5 minutes if I'm there, but then if I don't have time to go do other stuff. So something that we did for final round that we're looking at improving for future events is I tried taking some highlights, some replay highlights to throw in there for breaks. That's kind of cool to see, the cool hype KOs and that sort of stuff from the instant replay up there. Or sometimes BMG will be like, hey, we have this dope video, can you play it during break? And that helps out a lot. So Pro Series, the announcement video, that was one of those where we were like, yeah, awesome, that's 2.5 minutes, half your break done, beautiful. Also, it's a really cool video.
That's crazy how valuable 2.5 minutes is, though.
It's very valuable.
Oh my goodness. But yeah, so you have that challenge as well, and we tried a couple things. Interviews at LANs are a lot more natural and easy to do. We had our Sparky pre-show instead of starting soon with nothing. We had Sparky do some interviews with some players. That worked out pretty well on Friday. We on Sunday top 8 we had Sparky do an interview with
I thought it was Double Dime, wasn't it?
It was
I was pretty sure it was Double Dime.
Did Double Dime do the interview?
Well,
he did.
There was like a very long delay because of technical issues.
Oh yeah, and he got in front of the crowd. I remember this.
Actually, what were we saying before that? It was like, interviews and stuff. Yeah. We can go back to that. How is it like for you guys when there's like massive technical issues?
I want to pull my hair out.
Okay. Yeah, same. I feel that.
Watching LeftStick just ravage his beard. No, because and that's just a stress thing for anybody, because there could be technical difficulties because of you, or it could be because of something out of your control, and either one is about the same of like, I've got to figure out what to do in the meantime so that things aren't terrible.
So the viewer doesn't care No matter what the production is, whether it's us or not, as a viewer, it's us.
Yes.
And so, we're scrambling to try to figure out these issues. So I'm gonna go into a little detail here on that. I think next time when we have technical issues, we just show this, because there was a moment where the stage monitor quit working, and we could still see it in Toast's little, preview. And so Toast and Slosh are literally screaming directions of where to move the mouse to Foda while he's moving it on stage.
That's amazing. Wait, this sounds
So
amazing.
they're like, no, up an inch, down an inch, to the left, and it's.
And this was on stream as it was happening?
No, this was not on stream.
Okay,
we had a break up at the time, but I think we just show that next time.
Well, I would have. That would have been mad. That would have been hilarious. I don't know. I guess but then you also have to argue the direction of the production, because there's sometimes they're too silly, things are too serious, whatever. Having a nice balance is there. I think it's always safe to say don't show it, but also you lose the viewers, right? So it's maybe it's not safe. That's hard. That's tough. There's a lot of judgment calls that you have to make on the fly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and there's anytime you do any sort of live event, you make a plan, you execute the plan, you expect the plan to go off the rails, and then you throw away the plan, and then you make a new plan. To steal a quote from Flash, CW TV show, because it's a great quote. I'm gonna go into a little bit of the dirty details about Final Round right now, because I think you guys will find this interesting, right? So aside from all the issues that you saw, there's a lot of stuff that happens off the screen, and your job as a production team is to make it so the audience doesn't see any of the jank. If it's really freaking janky what you're working with, but they don't see it, you're doing your job right. And it comes down to a lot to preparation, and then, hoping the stars align favorably in your. So on day 2, on Saturday, I have a capture card that takes eight inputs, right? And I can also make those inputs outputs. And this is really important. So we had the game as an input, caster cams, player cam 1, player cam 2, and then the stage cam overall, all right? 5 cameras, and then we had a 6th one, which I set as an output to the projector.
Sure.
The way any 8 capture card input works on the market right now is that they're stacked. So it's really 2 4 capture cards that have been fused together in a bionicle transformer kind of way. On Saturday.
So you're hyper threading a capture card. Anyways.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe on Saturday, we start the stream, we start the show, and the top 4 die. My top 4 inputs die. Completely dead.
That's nice.
Once the stream starts, you can't stop.
Was it the 4 that were dedicated to the main things, or was it the other 4 where you only lost?
I had confirmed I had 1 player camera. I had the projector going out to the projector. And that was the only 2 things that I had working at that time.
So the one that you needed the most was the one that went down. Okay.
Yeah, no game camera, no caster camera. Those are all I had connected to the top deck. So I'm there, I'm panicking, and you're freaking out right now because it's the stream has started live. The starting soon is up. Mm-hmm. The tournament has to start. The players are here and ready to go.
Okay.
What can we do to make this better, right? So once we had figured out that it was the bottom 4 that were working and the top 4 that were broken, we swapped things out. So now we had caster cameras, right? Because that's crucial. The game, obviously, that's crucial. And for our third and only other input, we had this full stage cam, because I could take the full stage cam and I could duplicate it and crop it down into smaller player cameras, right?
Whoa, so you're saying you took the entire stage and then you made 2.
Yes.
And you made it look like it was 2 cameras.
Yes. And
wow.
That illusion was there.
I did not know that
someone walked in front of it.
Yeah. You fooled me. I didn't even realize that happened.
So that happens, right? And then we get through Saturday. By the skin of our teeth, it feels like. I don't think Saturday was too bad, but when you're behind the computer and you're behind that production desk, you're really
that sort of sweating isn't seen on stream necessarily. You're just
it's
I'm sure
freaking
most people.
terrifying.
I'm sure most people are just kind of like, oh, they're having trouble getting the controllers set plugged in or whatever. Wow.
And there's the audio part of it too, right? So, so DisplayPort has this weird thing where, if you mirror a display through DisplayPort, there's no such thing as a DisplayPort splitter, really, at like the casual level. It mirrors it, and Windows sees it as a mirrored screen, and Windows can only mirror to 2 monitors, right?
Okay.
So if you have 2v2 up on stage, right, and you have to have 2 monitors, if you go through a splitter, it will actually act as 2 mirror displays. So then I cannot take a feed from that computer to show it on stream or show it on the projector because I can't mirror a third display. So what we have is a really fancy, very expensive display splitter that actually splits the display. However, that works. It works. It does work. And that's what they've used for a bunch of LANs now. It works most of the time, almost all the time.
I feel like
But
almost
the problem with
thing
it is that
you want.
audio in Windows can only go to one source, right?
Sure.
So it's going to the monitors that the players are using so they can hear game sounds. I'm taking an HDMI out of the computer, so I'm not getting game audio. So we were like, all right, let's try it. And we put on virtual audio meter banana, whatever, to split it so that I could get audio, which was a cause for some of the latency on the stream setup. So we took that away. And now we're like, we don't have game audio. So people watching the stream, they're tweeting Baggel, they're tweeting me. They're like, dog, why isn't there any audio? You look at Twitch chat and they're like, what is this? There's no game audio. I don't like this. Give me my game audio. And
that is exactly what Twitch chat sounds like.
In my head, that's what Twitch chat sounds like. And so finally we managed to get this cable that we just split off the same headphone split that the players are splitting off of, and we got that to work. But like it got to a point where I was like, there's no game audio, and it, when the game doesn't have audio, it takes away a lot of oomph out of the game because the sounds are well done. And
I don't think you don't have to go into the details of what not having game sound does.
All right,
I think
yeah, it's like,
that
it is
that's
awful.
And that's a thing for players and spectators. Like I know that there are some people that like to play with music or with only game audio or a combination of both, and just having one of those options removed where it should be natural, it's awful. I'm like that the priority was there for the players first over.
Oh, that's what it has to be. It's the tournament is there for the players. The players are the ones who are going up and competing and providing the content for everyone else to watch, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it needs to be comfortable for them before it's comfortable for anyone else. We got the sound working eventually, and Saturday ended, and I think we were up until 3 or 4 Saturday night, working on stingers and stuff, and troubleshooting the graphics, the capture card, and it just didn't work. Unfortunately, it's busted. It's RMA'd right now. It's in the company. They're gonna fix it for me, but like that happened on Saturday, and it was like, this is about as big of a freaking problem as there ever could be.
Well, that's really good news that you got through it. That's what's amazing to me is that, like, in the end, I think a lot of people would never even be able to guess that it was that bad, other than the few delays that you had showing on stream, because top 8 ended up happening. It happened really well, and a lot of those stats and stingers that you developed for hours on end after you figured out how to get the basic stuff working was fantastic. And what were you gonna say, Left Stick, before I talked over you?
You go ahead. I forgot, but I'll remember.
Oh. I feel bad. I should have stopped, but
no, you're good.
A little bit of a delay. No, that was essentially the summary. Was that, like, what you just described was like a horror story of like, how the heck did you not give up at any point, right? Obviously, you couldn't. That was like totally not what you're getting paid to do. But from what you're describing, it was like the solutions that you had to come up with were so far fetched that your reference quote of make a plan, throw it away, make a new plan. You did that 3 times. And then the 4th plan kind of worked, right? Like that's what it was like. Wow.
Sunday was almost flawless. I mean, Sunday was
awesome.
Like, I mean, I think part of top 8, but the feeling that we had on Sunday. I mean, LeftStick can confirm. He was sitting next to me. Like I was, like that high is so good.
So there was a moment on Sunday that I'm trying to think of a way to say this in a PG way. um, when the crowd and the stream were cheering for production when the stats and the stinger went off. It felt real.
Oh yeah, the first time where like really
The first
it
time.
was like I remember when I was casting with the stinger, I was kind of like, did you see that? Like one of those, like I'm like looking over to like my co-caster at the time. I know I did a lot of casting with Foda, and it was just kind of like, dude, you're looking at that, and it's awesome because as casters we get to see basically what's going out to the stream in real time, so that we can commentate over it. So it's a lot of fun for us to see your work too.
I think there was a like when that happened and everyone in chat was cheering and when the crowd was cheering, I'm pretty sure there was a moment that like Toast V and I were basically squealing like little schoolgirls or hugging each other.
That was
or
entirely
something.
Sunday for me. You were there. I was like, ah, the entire time on Sunday. I was freaking out.
Like every time the stinger would go off, he was just like bouncing in his chair. Like it was great. I mean, like we had a trial by fire. Everything that could have went wrong did. And then Sunday we had it figured out and the product was good.
That's awesome.
So,
yeah, that sounds great.
So what's the next thing that you guys are doing like that? Like what's the next stinger? What's the next big thing?
So that's a good question. More stat stuff if we can. You know, there's only so much stuff that you can reasonably track right now with Brawlhalla.
They should hire a band for BCX.
But we do want to get more obvious statistics out there. I think those are always fun. Really, the next couple of events are about refining what we have at final, right? So refining these stingers, refining the replays. At final round, we debuted also like a true instant replay where if there was a really cool stock, I could throw up an instant replay mid-game in the corner. It works a lot better for 1v1 than it does for 2v2.
Yeah.
There's a lot happening in 2v2 and it gets cluttered. But with 1v1, being able to push a button and then have like a 5-second clip of, you know, Boomie, you getting a 0 to death on Sandstorm or whatever. Like I think that's kind of cool. And just figuring out what is the right way to use those tools. Because it's easy to overdo things and make things kind of tacky and gross sort of thing.
So you want to avoid having the mentality of every new thing has to be a really big thing.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes it can be small quality of life things. At Winter Championships, we were looking at the space between character select, map selection, and game start, and we said there's no information here about what tournament it is or what the score is. And so LeftStick and I looked at each other and we were like, why don't we add in a current score? And so we did. And you know, that's something small, but it's a huge quality of life improvement.
That literally happened on the fly. So like we looked at each other, we had the idea, we messaged V because we were at BMG, of course he was at home, and it was make us this little boxy so that we can use it. And so he makes it, sends it to Toast downloads it while we're streaming, and then uploads it, and we put it into the tool so that I can change all of the score and the numbers and everything. So that all kind of happened. We had the idea and then used it on the fly.
Which obviously you don't want to do on the fly. Like you should have those things prepared ahead of time.
Yes.
But you know, that small quality of life improvement is something that we've brought forward through all of the online tournaments. It was there at final round. It's something that we're going to keep for the rest of the year because just having that information is really nice to just have there. Same idea with Twitter integration. For any of the tournaments this year, #BHEsports is something that I can pull automatically from Twitter and auto-populate something and show on stream. I wish more of the pro players would use the pro players. If you're watching, can you please #BHEsports during tournaments? Because you say sometimes pro players say things that are really good on Twitter, and I mean I can get it and autofill, but it's a lot more work than is worth the result because it's a kind of an awkward system. But if you throw out your salty tweet with hashtag BH Esports, the chances of me showing it on stream are so much higher.
I'm just thinking like any player that Boomie beats that's salty about losing to him, it's just kind of like, I lost to this spamming Diana player again. Hashtag BH Esports. Like I guess like I don't think they're gonna do it, but it would be amazing if
That's
they
what
did
I
it.
want. I want to show that, it's a little bit player personality and it's fun because during slow moments on stream or
Let me
where
challenge
characters are
you.
talking about things that don't actually matter, I can throw that up there and it gives them something to
Let me challenge you with this one. Would it maybe be better for you to develop a system that has the pro players that are consistently placing at lands as their Twitter's ready to go, so that you could pull those comments from them without it? Or do you think it's like a thing where you need the permission or whatever? Because I was thinking most players are, no matter how nicely you ask, aren't going to do it in the heat of the moment. They're going to like,
of course,
do it after. So maybe there's a way
you're
that you could do it to like get it later, but that might be really hard.
There isn't easily a way to do that. So right now, part of the reason that we use the program and the software that we use is because it comes with a whole suite. So I have a specific social application that links directly into vMix, right? And so the application lets me track. I'm gonna open up right now. Social, and it gives me specific things that I can track. So I can track a hashtag, I can track a player, but I can't do I cannot track multiple things.
Oh,
so I can hashtags. You could look at user timelines. Favorites, it says I can claim, but I don't know that the favorites works really well. So in theory, I could have it follow an account, and every time I see something that I want to tweet, I could have someone favorite it, and then I could pull that way. It's clunky and it doesn't really work really well because then you have someone who has to be just kind of trolling Twitter.
So take a step back, everybody. You know what? I get it. You're upset that you lost, but hashtag BH Esports. Yes.
Yes. Please.
There have been times that we've used somewhat salty tweets.
Also, these are great.
I love salty tweets, man. Yeah. Give me your salty tweets as long as you don't swear or like say anything like weirdly sexual or like not appropriate.
I guess we're just gonna stick to Baggel dev tweets then, aren't we? At that rate, because that's like 95%.
Yeah. If you're salty tweeting and your salty tweet is like mother in this mother,
that's
shit.
Yeah,
I can't show that. I can't show that on stream, bro.
Well, but that's just like, and what was this whole conversation? Oh yeah, it was like over the new feature, which is kind of like, you know what? We had a lot of new features. Or I am speaking for you, right? You had a lot of new features at final round. Now it's time to develop those features. Let's not tack on more. You're going to put more stats in so that the stats thing is more well-rounded. You're going to look for a better way of trying to encourage people to type hashtag Brawlhalla Esports. Maybe like make it a thing where like, oh, if you do this, you could be put into a whatever for CC code. Maybe that's really hard to do. But like incentives, or I guess it's more just on casters. I know that I failed to remind people to tweet BH Esports more often than I should. That's something that could just be like more into like the caster rounds of things. Like before a break, always be sure to mention tweet at BH Esports. It'll get featured on stream. Be awesome, etc.
Part of it is also training the audience too, right? Mm-hmm. So the whole Twitter integration thing is sort of new. I mean, we were doing it with Brawlhalla tournaments last year, but we changed the hashtag for every event, which we're not doing this year. So I think part of it is just kind of like establishing it as a thing first, and then having that be like an institutional sort of idea within the community, if that makes sense.
It does, and it will grow on its own naturally. And if you try to force it any harder, then it probably will just die off. So I think that's actually a really, really good way of putting it. So we've talked about your online, offline events, the LAN experience, all these awesome things that you've got going on in the creative process. I wanted to know, or maybe Boomie, you could ask this question because going to the maybe there's production plans outside of Brawlhalla. I guess I already asked it, so I guess I can't have Boomie ask it. But I was wondering because Baggel is a production company, right?
Yeah,
So
and
go ahead.
you guys maybe I think it was still Brawl League at the time, but I know at least you Toast, you ran a Smash Ultimate tournament. I was just wondering like what you thought about that and if you want to do that in the future.
Yes, we do. The Smash Ultimate tournament was really fun. We did a Slap City tournament once, which was an experience.
So when you use fun and an experience right next to each other, it's already kind of what was the deal with the Slab City thing that was like?
So the hold on
Why
one
don't
second. I need to cough.
Okay, go for it. What a cough!
Yeah.
Right, welcome back.
The spring is here, and my allergies are having fun with it.
Oh, jeez.
So Slap City, when we first started talking to their team that runs tournaments, they were like, "Oh yeah, our players know what Smash GG is. They know how to be on Smash GG. They know how to do it." But then they also used Discord to set up matches and ban maps. And so we thought that it would be fine to use Smash GG because they had done it in the past. And so many of them can.
LeftStick, you muted.
Did he mute? I think
he died.
Oh, he might be dead.
He just exploded.
Well, you pick up Toast.
Yeah, so they told us that they knew how to use pre-check-in and all that sort of thing, and we go in and we're like, cool, okay, and we set it up for pre-check-in and all of that, and nobody checks in on time. Nobody uses pre-check-in. They were really mad because one of their top players got DQ'd because they didn't check in.
Dude, this reminds me of like running Brawlhalla events in 2015.
Dude,
That's like before people got used for tournaments. They were just like, and even then it wasn't. Only sometimes it happened.
Oh man,
But
it was a
on the bright side, it sounds like
it was more.
It sounds like more of a community issue than it was an actual game issue. Although it'd be nice. I'm realizing now that we take for granted that Brawlhalla's got stage striking in the game.
Dude, you take it for granted, man. I do not take that shit for granted.
Brawlhalla
has a working online lobby system, which I'm sorry, no other game has. It's not peer-to-peer. Peer-to-peer is garbage. Every other fighting game.
Also, Brawlhalla's online's really good. It's
Holy
in general.
Cow, dude.
Yeah, like I mean,
every single time.
Boomie,
when we did. Oh God, I'm sorry. I'm talking all over you.
That's all right. But like, I'm thinking, Boomie, you practice with people in EU. I know it's not like the most realistic practice, but it's still feasible, right? Like you get to learn. Like I think Dobrain was playing against you with Fate a lot before Final.
Yeah, and I've played other games. It's like actually terrible going from Brawlhalla to other games.
Bad.
Like there were periods of time where I was like seriously considering trying to like go pro in other games, and like I queue into the he's gone. I queue into the game, and I literally have like 50 frames of input delay. That's like almost an entire second. I'm like, okay, Alt F4, back to Brawlhalla. It's so insane. I definitely take the map thing for granted though.
It's really like we can moan and groan about not having like an admin for a lobby or whatever or anything like that. But at the end of the day, Brawlhalla's online system is just so much better. It is miles ahead.
Yeah.
Pretty much every other fighting game online system that I've experienced so far.
It probably also contributes a lot to how, I'm not gonna say easy. I guess easy relatively to other games to run online tournaments. It's pretty nice.
It's easy.
Yes.
I mean, Sparky just said that Rivals tournament he ever watched, the first one, didn't have spectator mode. They still don't have spectator mode, to my knowledge. They might have added that in an update, but we wanted to do a Rivals of Aether tournament too back last year, and it was replays only, which we're not doing a replay only tournament.
That's not fun. I mean, it's like in some rare cases, I think replay only stuff's good for show matches. If you're like, hey, give us your best of 10.
Right.
Replay set, whatever, right? And then you cast over another time. But not for live tournaments. And I guess you're right, it is easy. Because when I think about it, when I started doing tournaments, it was there wasn't any setup to it. It was just, we're gonna have a lobby, we're gonna hide the code, we're gonna give the code to the players we want in the lobby, and that's it. And we could run an entire 100+ person event that way if we really wanted to. And that's just through the convenience that is the Brawlhalla client. It's
It just it works, and it
So-
works well, and it's something that a lot of other games don't have. So
go ahead.
kind of just to quickly circle back around to Boomie's original question, we do want to do other games because we had fun with Ultimate. It was a really fun tournament to do. We had Creed casting with Hangman, who is a Smash caster, and kind of fusing that, like, here's a Brawlhalla caster and here's a Smash caster is really, really. It's always fun to see how that dynamic works out and what they bring to each other. But we do want to do other things like that, not on such a large scale as what we're doing for Brawlhalla, but like a small community Ultimate tournament is fun. It's just, again, the online and Ultimate is not.
Oh, we don't have to hide that. No,
It's
everybody knows
terrible.
this.
It
I
is
agree.
awful.
But it does have a lobby system that
does.
works. It
Yes,
doesn't
it
have
does.
stage striking. And
It has,
Smash
like,
GG
It's a
does
cute
have
lobby
stage
system,
striking for
too.
it, but only has 2 rule sets.
I like how they did it. At first I was kind of like, why would they put this kind of? Sometimes there's attention to detail that Nintendo does that makes me go like, this is really good. Why didn't you do this?
Right?
Like I like that the fact that there's like the little ring and the spectator part on the other end, and you can like drag your little icon, which you can personalize. And it's like this is all really awesome, except that I can't change my character mid match, and then all of a sudden the list of negatives just boom goes in.
Yeah.
But that's another topic for another day. What I'm getting from what you said is
Yes.
we would love to, but this year, Brawlhalla.
Yeah.
That's what it sounds like.
Yeah, this year is really, we just want to do a really good job for BMG and for Brawlhalla. World Championships in November. Like, we want whatever that production to look like. That needs to be just, all the cards on the table. Amazing, like everything. That needs to be everything. It needs to be. Was it Dota that did the live their video game player, like their characters dancing on stage? Was that Dota?
Oh, that
That
was
was
League.
Dota.
Oh,
That was
League.
Dota?
That's-
Although I think the International
Legends.
did that too. I think both MOBAs had some element of whatever. I know,
Whatever,
League
stuff that they're
definitely
doing
had
that are
that.
stupidly expensive. Like, I want us to do that. That's what November needs to be. It needs to be just.
Or rather, your equivalent of that with the team.
Yeah.
I guess, because eventually maybe the team grows past 3 as a core, but you started somewhere. You've shown that you can make something out of literally nothing. After hearing about that camera splitting thing and how you only had 3 or 4 ports that actually worked for your production at one point, like the fact that you're able to do is such a great job with that. And then your replays they went from being used in game to just being used for anything. I'm pretty sure Big Bite Cody came out of you guys doing a hilarious replay of that action, and things just got more and more fun for everybody. And it sounds like that it's going to be just as fun, just as great, and a lot better from the get-go coming for the next event that's going to be Dallas. Not the next offline event is going to be Dallas, I believe.
No, I mean,
Although-
I think key into lands for significant visual upgrades. I think those are natural kind of like milestones for seeing new stuff. Pro Series is another thing. Key in for that. We have a lot of big plans for Pro Series. But I think kind of just like locking into the lands, and that's when you should expect to see any radical changes from us, probably. I don't know, LeftStick, what do you think?
Yeah. I mean, I think that's a plausible answer.
What's the next big stat dump that you're planning on doing?
I want to gather stats from the crew battles.
Oh yeah, that's right. We didn't even really go into that much detail. Pro League's a big undertaking you guys are doing. For anybody that's just tuning in now or like paying attention, I guess, at the point in the podcast is Pro League's happening next week from when we do this. It's going to start on April 9th.
Tuesday.
9th. The
April
9th.
9th.
And it's going to be for 3 weeks, every Tuesday and Thursday, featuring a bunch of
9th and
NA
the
teams.
11th.
And you can find the announcements of the teams, and I'm sure there's going to be more of it on the dev stream next week about the events. And you guys are doing it the entire time. And so that's going to be a big production challenge, because it's no longer like, here's your events for the weekend. It's for the month, basically.
Yeah, well, that's good. We like
gonna be
having
fun.
events.
Keeps you
Oh,
occupied.
Yeah.
Yeah, more interesting than my day job. So, but so with Pro Series,
Just
oh,
LeftStick's
you're
next
asking
stats
about
from-
next for stats.
Yeah.
Yes, Pro Series is a big thing, but also I got to give a huge shout out to Part of the Creed, because I will message Part of the Creed on Discord, and I'll be like, "Hey Creed, is this thing doable with your like wizard tech skills?" And he'll say no, and then he'll message me an hour later and be like, "Actually, I figured it out." So
Did we just have this conversation about left stick at the beginning of the podcast?
I feel like I'm blessed to be
Huh.
surrounded by people who are just like good at what they do.
Right.
Maybe it's because I don't understand
And
what
honest. I think the honesty is important too, because they're going to tell you immediately, left stick. Like he's like, I don't know how to do this right now.
Yeah.
Sorry, don't expect it. And then then when it comes down, it's like, wait a minute. I changed my mind. I figured it out. So, but that is awesome that you have these talented, honest people around that are going to give you.
It's amazing.
What to work with. Yeah.
They are amazing. One of the things Sparky told me when I asked him about the spreadsheet, I said, "What kind of content do you want on the spreadsheet and the stats for you as a caster that's useful?" And he said, "Honestly, I would love to know legend choices. Like what's their most used legend?
Mm-hmm.
Was there a crazy pocket pick that they used to win? Whatever." So I messaged Creed and I say, "Hey Creed, is this doable?" And Creed was like, "Well, Smash GG API, blah blah blah, text talk." And then an hour later, he was like, "Actually, they just updated the API, and I figured out how to do it. And here's a prototype of a tool you can use to pull all the player versus stats between two players and their legend pick." Like, excuse me? That's crazy. So that's something we'd like to throw in too, like most played legend in tournament. I think that's a cool statistic to have out there.
Which means report your legends when you play tournaments.
Yeah.
I
why
guess
don't
it's the only
people do
limitation.
that? It's so easy.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
the
all
same
the more
thing
reason
as
to do it.
the BH Esports.
Yeah, Pro Player PSA. Tweet hashtag BH Esports. Please report your legend. It will help you. It'll help you grow your brand too. Because if you're continuing to improve, like Big Bite Cody, you're gonna want that information.
Cody.
You're gonna want that information to be available when you inevitably get picked up. Because those stats are gonna help the players that you're doing production for. Because then it's gonna be easier for sponsors to see how well they're doing. You're honestly doing so much for so many aspects of Brawlhalla. It's fun.
It's fun too. I mean, you saw Boomie. You were playing around with the tool for like 10 minutes earlier.
Yeah.
Like when we finally had that settled out and like done. I think I was at the airport and I was just on my laptop and I was just playing with like matchups to see history. It was just like, this is really cool. Like,
yeah.
I think I really got into what I wanted to talk about today, or what we wanted to talk about. Boomy, what were you thinking? Was there anything else that you had on your mind that you wanted to go over with Baggel? But I think we really got down to what Baggel is, what you guys do, and what you're planning on doing in 2019 with Brawlhalla. Do you have anything to add?
If I did, I don't know, because I'm 1 and 2 with midget all time.
Wow. Oh.
Yeah.
Oof.
That's tough, actually.
Got bodied by the stat tool from Left Stick. That's what happened to Boomie this podcast. But
I just find the stats. It's up to you to make them not against you.
That's true. Wow, 1 and 2 with midget. Look at that! Look at that earnings difference. I like that. For some reason, that's like even.
Oh, the earnings is good.
Fun for me. Oh.
So in talking about stats and players and sponsors getting at players and making it easier for sponsors to see which players they should pick up, something that I can tease that is kind of in the concept stage currently is to take the player pictures that we're using for stingers and the Pro Series advertising, and then take their tournament stats and their earnings and all of that and make basically player profiles on the Baggel Productions website.
Wait, you have a website?
We're not there yet.
We're not there. I mean, we do have a website.
Okay.
We do
it's
have
just
a website.
baggelproductions.com.
And we do have some big ideas for it. One of that is these player profiles we want to do. We also, when we finish doing all the photos, so V takes a lot of photos. He probably takes like thousands of photos at these lands, and he goes through and probably He probably picks like the best 300 or 600. Those will also go on to our website. You can actually find, you can see it there. The BCX, the Brawlhalla World Championship photos from the 3 days from 2018. Final round photos will probably go up there too once they've been properly, touched up and edited and all that stuff, so they look extra crispy. So we have some pretty big plans for that website to try and highlight and show off lots of plays.
Those pictures are fantastic. Wow. Well, that's awesome. Where can anybody who's listening follow either you, Toast, Left Stick, or the company? What are all the social medias? What can we do? Where can we find you?
Left Stick.
Oh, if you're looking for Toast, it's ToastBH. I am at LeftStickDown, and then the Baggel Twitter is BaggelHQ. And another small tease: the final round pictures will be up Monday, so tune into the Monday esports stream where they will be going over those pictures.
And that streams on twitch.tv/Brawlhalla.
Yes.
Yo.
Correct.
Wow, that's fantastic. I can't wait for it. Pro Series is gonna be so much fun.
Dude, we're so excited. It's gonna be
I'm so
awesome.
excited.
Well, I think that just about does it. I'm Taza, Boomie, and I were hosting this. Thank you guys so much for joining us and talking to us about Baggel. It's going to be really fun to be able to have you two on again several months down the line and talk about how much everything's improved and how much better things are. Because after hearing that final round debacle, I'm just like, wow, everything is going to be so good now. I just can't. Like, that's just how it's going to be afterwards. So I think that just about does it. Boomie, go ahead and send us off.
Peace out. Thank you for watching. Follow me and Taz on Twitter. Subscribe to me on YouTube. Subscribe to me on Twitch.
Oh yeah, this will be on YouTube. So.
Wow, you're.
See you then.
Hey, peace out,
Hey.
boys.